Hello and welcome to the Bare Knit Knitting Podcast. In this video I will share with you projects that I'm working right now, and I will talk about one finished project which was a cowl, or is a cowl, and two sweaters that I'm currently working, one cardigan and one pullover, and one pair of socks. And let me start with the cowl, which is the finished project. So let me put it on. Ta-da! This is the project that I finished, and it is a cowl, Wintergreen cowl. It is my own pattern. I released it a couple of days ago, and it is quite a simple cowl pattern with a twist, as you can see here happening. Let me show it to you more closely. So as you can see, you have a twist, and on the other side it isn't. I have a feeling that this looks very cute and interesting with a twist, and it's not like, you know, this shielding big tube around your face. So yeah, this I love the construction of cowls with a twist. And also I added bubbles. I love making bubbles. They give a lot of texture to the project, and also it is fun to make them, because otherwise it is just a stockinette stitch in the round, but with the bubbles it is quite fun to make. And also I really felt like making them in a quite bright red color. I don't know if I mentioned already in my podcast, I live in Oslo, in Norway, and I live quite high on top of a hill, which makes, and it is, by the way, 500 meters over the sea level, which is quite a big difference compared to the Oslo city center, which is on the sea level, so you have to climb all the way up here. And the weather here is a bit different from the weather down in the city center, and you have a little bit more winter here. And why am I talking about all this? Next to my building there are bushes of berries growing. I'm not quite sure if it is wintergreen berries or something different. I couldn't determine what it is, and now it is covered with thick snow, so I can't check and Google what exactly these bushes are. But I researched a bit, and the wintergreen is quite similar to those that I have here growing next to me. So I wanted to make something that will remind me about those nice days, because in the autumn time these berries, they get very nice red color, and it is so beautiful, you know, this contrast with green and red, and they give me really nice vibes. So I wanted to make something that I can wear and see it more often than only in the autumn time. The yarn that I used to make it is Rauma Finull, both for the white and for the red. I will link the colorways that I used in the description box below. By the way, all the patterns that I will mention, I will link them in the description box. And of course all the yarns and all the technical information there. And yeah, so I used white and red for that, and also I made video tutorials for all the more tricky techniques that I used in this cowl. So people that are beginners, maybe more adventurous beginners, they can also make it. So I added videos for the bubbles, and also for the cast on and cast off and assembling the cowl. Let me talk a little bit more how this construction works. So it is reversible, so it goes all the way in the round. So you cast on stitches with provisional cast on. Normally my preferred way to cast on to make the provisional cast on is with the crochet hook. So I will take a strand of yarn, either scrap yarn or any yarn. Usually I use cotton yarn. For example, I have one here. It is more smooth and more easy to remove it once I'm done with knitting, after I'm ready to cast off. So I would make a chain with a crochet hook, and then I would pick up stitches in those bumps in the chain, and then once I picked up stitches I can continue knitting. And for this cowl, you just, as I said, you would knit it in the round, the long tube. And once you are done, you unravel the cast on edge, pick up the stitches that you did, and then you will join the edges of the cowl with Kitchener stitch. So it makes all the cowl fully reversible, all the sides, and you don't have this seamed edge anywhere. So it looks very, you know, continuous and infinite, which is pretty cool in my taste. So you know, you can't be bothered which way should I put it on, or you know, if by any reason you are bothered by that. But of course, if you don't want to mess with all the provisional cast on, Kitchener stitch, and all this maybe not so tricky techniques, but you know, not so common in everyday projects techniques, you can definitely use your preferred way of casting on, like, I don't know, long tail cast on. And then once you are done, you would cast it off and then seam the edges together. And of course it will work as well, and will be a very nice piece of accessory if you decide to make it. Another thing I think is worth mentioning is, since this is, you make a tube of it, it is quite thick. Not too thick, because it is sport weight yarn, and you know, it's quite thin, but because you have 2 layers of stockinette, and also there you will have this strand of yarn that you are carrying for the bubbles. It is quite a warm accessory, and here I mentioned that I live on a hill and it gets quite windy here, so having like something more sturdy to prevent the wind from blowing into my neck and under my jacket is very, very important. So this is why I feel like this is a very useful cowl for me to wear, and since I finished it, I'm wearing it basically every day. So my Wintergreen cowl, I will link the pattern and all the specs, what yarn and whatever I used, in the description box below. And now let's talk about the works in progress. I will, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I will have 2 sweaters and socks. And first sweater, it's actually a cardigan that I want to show you. It is the Maija Cardigan by Anna Johanna. It's half, nah, not half finished, let's be honest, it's like 30% maybe finished. So the pattern, I have a book, Strands of Joy by Anna Johanna. She's the Finnish designer, and I already made a woodland. I already made a woodland cardigan from this book. I shared it a couple of episodes of my knitting podcast before. Yeah, here are better pictures. So you have this really nice foresty looking vibes there, and it really reminds me about the forest that I am living in. It's really, really nice. And now I'm making another pattern of hers, this one that I want to talk with you today. It is the Maija Cardigan. Here it is. More photos. Oh, here are better photos. So it is it's supposed to be quite long, and you have some color work there. Oh, here is a really nice one. Oh, I'm not showing that one. So yes, this pattern, it requires DK weight yarn, and the gauge is 16 stitches. I'm not using the recommended yarn, and I'm not using DK weight yarn. I'm using, let me show you, I have a lot. So here are the yarns that I'm using. So this one, or yeah, I have like that. So I'm joining together those 2 yarns. One of those is a Nutiden yarn from Höner och Eir. Maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, most likely. It is a Swedish unspun yarn, Nutiden. And this one, it is Plötulopi from Istex, Icelandic. So I'm combining them together. And this is the main color that I'm using. And for the contrasting color, the first one that I used, it is this pinkish, reddish, I don't know, brownish maybe. I know, it looks quite pinkish to me. So this is also Nutiden yarn. I hold 2 strands together. And this is the yarn that I managed to get gauge with, and it is quite thick cardigan, and it is actually my yeah, maybe in the back it looks really nice. It is my main goal to make it super warm, and I'm making it not for myself, I'm making it for my mom. I'm originally from Ukraine, and now I know if you follow the news or not, and now it is quite difficult in terms of electricity and warmth and yeah, stuff happening in Ukraine because of war. So it is quite cold in the house where my parents live. So I decided to make something super warm for my parents, and this is the first project that I will be talking about. This is this cardigan, and since I'm holding those two yarns together, two strands, and adding color work, I guess it will be super warm. As I'm not sure if you ever used Nutiden yarn. It is, for me, I have never made a project more warm than with this yarn. I have a sweater. I don't think I shared it in my podcast before. Maybe in some next videos I will be wearing, because I made it like 2-3 years ago. And it was this sweater, it uses 2 strands of Nutiden. It's super warm, even though it doesn't look very thick and bulky. It is so warm and nice. So my thought was, okay, I want to make something warm. Of course, my choice will be with this yarn, and it is really nice to the touch. And of course, it is 100% wool yarn, and if you are super sensitive, maybe it's not the best choice, because it doesn't have this very slick and unprickly feeling that normally the super wash yarn would have. But it is still really nice, and I can wear it like next to the skin, and it doesn't bother me at all. So I can only recommend trying out this yarn. What I wanted to talk more, and also this yarn, it is unspun yarn, which looks like this. It is super thin and easy to break. I can show it to you. Oh, sorry. So if you pull the yarn, it just breaks. So when you knit with it, you need to be very careful not to break. But if you hold two strands together, it makes it much better. But once you finish knitting with it, the length of the wool or staples here in the strand of yarn, they are quite strong, so you cannot break it that easily. And so it is not too easy to break. I think I have 2 or 3 sweaters, three sweaters with Nutiden yarn, and it's really nice to wear, and it's quite sturdy, so no problems with that one. And yeah, so that pattern, as I already showed you, again, I'm not using the recommended yarn or anything, and colors that I use, this pinkish that I already showed you. As you can see in the pattern, it will require the color work in the top of the cardigan, in the middle, and in the bottom part. So my plan is, I'm already done with the red part over here, and here I will use different colors, because I had only one plate, similar plate of pinkish reddish yarn that I already used. So I will be using different colors for those 2 parts. And the colors that I'm planning to use, let me grab them. These are the colors. I'm still haven't decided. I will use either one of them, because the other one will be this green. I will talk more about it when I will talk about the next sweater that I'm working on, because I have another one. So I'm thinking either those 2 plus this pinkish reddish on the top, or those 2 and pinkish reddish on the top. Actually, when I look on them together, I like the yellow one more. It has this warm tone to that it plays more with those colors compared to the blue one. No, I guess I will stay with the yellow one, and it is decided. Easy. Yeah, so this one is Nutiden from Sweden, as I mentioned, and this one is Plötulopi. They are more or less similar thickness. Maybe Nutiden is a little bit more thicker, but not too much, and it also depends on the colorway, because as far as I know, the producers of this yarn, they have different bases for different colors, and some colors they can be a little bit thinner, and some colors they can be a little bit thicker, so it depends. But yeah, still I'm making a color work, and I'm holding the yarns double, and yeah, I swatched with all these different colors, and it looks well, so yeah, I hope I will be fine. So for this cardigan, what I have left is one more sleeve, because one sleeve is done, and yeah, I need to pick up stitches now for the second sleeve, make it, and then continue with the body. This is by the way, my preferred way of knitting sweaters. If I'm no matter if I'm knitting them top down or bottom up, I would be finishing sleeves very early, so I don't stay on the sleeves island, and then I can just have fun with the body and have my mindless knitting part, and enjoy knitting it in the round. Oh, well, in terms of cardigan, it's not knitting in the round, it's actually back and forth. By the way, speaking of this pattern and knitting back and forth, this is the first time I'm knitting the color work flat. Usually I would make it in the round, and then if it's a sweater I would cut, and yeah, if it's not a sweater it would just stay. So in this case it is knit back and forth, which before I tried several times, and every time I try just to try it out, you know, like making a swatch or something, and I'm like, no, it's not working. I don't feel like purling with two strands of yarn. Normally when I knit with two strands, I would hold a yarn in two hands, my dominant yarn in my right hand and my contrasting color in my left hand, which works fine in like normal life. When I knit with one color, with one strand of yarn, I would knit in with continental style, with holding yarn in my left hand. But I tried and learned how to do it with like throwing, the English style, for the color work. It's, yeah, I'm not as efficient as with holding yarn in the left hand, but still it works fine for knitting. But with purling, when I tried, I have this really weird way of purling with, I mean, at least in this project, this is again the first time I'm doing it, knitting it flat. So on some points I'm just you know, switching yarn. Just now I hold my yarn in my left hand, purl, and then okay, I need to pick up this color, I would just switch colors and do the same, put the next strand of yarn in my left hand and knit it with my left. But for example, if I'm knitting one by one, on some rows you have like one by one color work, I would just hold two strands in the same hand, left hand, and purl. When I purl, I would pick up the correct strand of yarn. It works well. And in some points, on some points I would be throwing with my, so it's a mess, honestly, it's a mess. If you have any suggestions how to make purling with two strands of yarn efficient, I will be really thankful to read, because I tried all of them, and yeah, I guess I just need some more practice. Not sure I want to have this practice, because honestly I didn't enjoy it. And this is another thing that makes me want to knit sleeves, because I have you know, you have the color work part on the sleeves as well. But since you are knitting them in the round, it doesn't make my life so miserable as knitting it flat. But again, it's not so bad. I expected it to be much worse. Once I got into the rhythm, it just like, you know, now switch hands, now throw, and yeah, but still it's a mess. So again, if you have any suggestions how to improve purling with two strand, like color work, like knitting color work flat, I will be really thankful to read any ideas. Please write them in the comments below. So this is the Maija Cardigan by Anna Johanna. Can recommend it. for sure, I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I still need to finish the whole cardigan, but it is a nice work, and I really want it to be finished. I hope it will be a nice, useful and warm garment for my mom. Yeah, I'm not sure I wanted to add something else. Yeah, once I'm done with knitting the whole cardigan, then I will pick up the stitches for the collar. No, how's it called? Button band. For the button band. And yeah, it is suggested in the pattern to use really big buttons, so this is also my plan. My normal struggle is to go out there and find nicely looking buttons that I like. Yeah, if you have any suggestions about the buttons that you prefer in your cardigans, I will be really thankful to see. Maybe I will, yeah, if it's on, I can order it online. Maybe it's a good way for me to find something that I actually like. So Maija Cardigan by Anna Johanna. And the next project that I wanted to show you today is the nude sweater from Sandnes Garn. I will show the photo somewhere here how it looks. And the state of it is quite similar to the previous one. I mean, maybe not so much. So I have finished the sleeves. It is a bottom-up sweater, and again, my sleeve island prevention way works in a way that I start with the sleeves if I knit the sweater bottom-up. So I would finish the sleeves, and then I would start the body, and once I'm done, yeah, and then I will join them together and finish the yoke. So the sleeves are ready, and the yarn that I'm using, let me hide the sleeves. The yarn that I'm using, it is also Nutiden from this Swedish yarn producer, and these are the colors that I'm planning to use. The main color is this charcoal brownish dark, I don't know, black. I mean, it's a charcoal color, I guess, officially, but with a lot of brown in it. Really soft. It's so soft. I just when the yarn arrived, I mean, it's not the first time I'm using this yarn, but you know, it's so soft. I got it, and I want to put my hand and use it as a pillow, which is super nice and soft, and you just don't want to put it away. A really nice yarn. And so this is, I mean, I don't have any promotion or anything on this channel for this yarn. I bought it, I paid for it, so no promotion, no paid promotion here happening. It's just a really nice yarn that I like using. And so this is the main color. By the way, almost all the colors, this black charcoal, the green, and this pinkish reddish, they are all from the recent February, I think, collection from this yarn producer. And how, by the way, how it works with them, they create several colorways, like 5 or 6 in a month, maybe in 2 months, and then they will open their shop for a couple of days, sell the yarn, and they will never make the same color ever. So it is important, if you buy the yarn, make sure you buy enough for your planned project, because otherwise there is no chance of getting it again. I mean, sometimes there is a chance, maybe some colorway they didn't sold out for the period that they have their store open. Maybe there is a chance to buy it again, but again, there is no guaranteed way for you to get it. Maybe on Ravelry somebody would sell. I haven't ever tried buying some like the same colorway that you are lacking. Maybe somebody sells it. Not sure. It's like, you know, it's a chance or it's a lottery to win. But anyway, so this is the February collection from them. And this white yarn, I can't remember. I bought it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's quite long ago. And I have a sweater. I don't think I showed it on this podcast. Eventually I think I will be wearing it just to show it to you. I made a sweater out of it, and this is the leftover from it. And for that sweater I combined this yarn together with silk mohair, and it's also a very nice and warm sweater to have. So I will be using this white color or grayish, yeah, light color as a contrasting color for the sweater, and this green I will also use as a contrasting color, like a main contrasting. I love this green color, and yeah, I hope all these three will play well. Maybe I will throw a bit of pinkish color if I have any left after my cardigan that I'm done with it, just to you know, give a little bit of colorfulness to it. By the way, the sweater, this sweater that I'm making, I'm making it for my father, so they will, my mom and my dad, they will get their presents once we meet. Yeah, we are planning to meet in a couple of months, so I have deadline to finish those sweaters. And I don't know if you ever made something for somebody that you know that this is the day that you need to give it away. You just, you know, you feel very, very motivated to finish with it. So those two projects are actually those that I'm working the most recently. Yes. So I'm not using the same yarn that is recommended in the pattern. I think the pattern recommends for the Fritid's garn from Sandnes, which is not the one that I'm using. And again, the reason is the same as for the cardigan that I'm making for my mom. I want to make a super warm and yeah, a warm and cozy sweater for my dad. So this is the choice that I decided to make. I made several, this sweater, it has this Icelandic vibe in it. I made several similar sweaters for myself and for my husband, and I feel like they are very warm, and still all this colorfulness that is happening in the yoke, they bring a lot of life, and yeah, they just look super nice in my taste. Quite classic looking, but still really, really nice to wear. So yeah, and I haven't made any knitted gifts for my parents before, so I hope they will enjoy it. Yes. So these are my sweaters, and the last work in progress that I wanted to share with you today is socks. Currently I have one sock, not almost done, but you know, it's getting close to be done. And the yarn that I'm using to make it is the Filcolana Arwetta, or Arwetta from Filcolana, in those two colors. And this is basically half stockinette in the bottom of the foot and half ribbed pattern for the sock. I'm not following any pattern, this is just my preferred way to knit socks. I start with the toe and then I knit it to the heel, and for the heel I'm making the German short rows heel. And once I'm done with it, I will go up and knit the cuff. And why it is my preferred way? Well, first of all, I like how the cast-on edge looks, and it is very neat, and there is no holes or anything. I use what's it called? Judith's cast-on method, I think, when when you hold two needles together and then you wrap the yarn around those two needles, and as a result you can knit on both of sides, so you just like you can start knitting in the round in this way. So this is very easy and neat way to start knitting. And also I like the German rose heel, which fits my heel the best, and it has this store-bought looking heel sock vibes for me. I just like the construction. And for the cuff, it's just like I knit it as high as I want it to be, usually a little bit more high, so I can roll it down or roll it up depending when I wear socks, because for I don't wear hand knitted socks as much outside in the real life, let's say, so outside of my home, because I don't know, it's just hot. I like making knitting stuff with wool, but as a result the socks are super warm, even though if it is a superwash wool it's still warm. So yeah, I have this, like, you know, love-hate feelings with hand knitted socks. But I never used Arwetta before, so maybe this yarn will be not as hot when I'm wearing it, so we will see. So either I will wear the socks at home, or I will just be wearing them very rarely when it's super cold outside and I actually need all the warmth from them. But these colors, they are super nice and sweet, and I just enjoy knitting with them. And stripes, I love stripes, and it makes the knitting process much faster. It's, you know, you just need to add another one, and as a result you're already done. And speaking of stripes, I wanted to share with you the way how I deal with the stripes here. This is, by the way, the place where I switch colors from one color to the next one, and as you can see it's almost jogless, so it is really hard to see where the jump happens. And the way how I achieve it, I would when I pick up a new color, I would knit the next round, but not knit the last stitch of this new round with a new color. I would keep it in the old color still, and once I knit this stitch, I would go with my left hand needle in the stitch below, and in this way I will be knitting like two stitches, like one on the up and together with that one below it. I will knit them together, and this will help with even out the width or height of the stripe. And if you would count the number of stitches in this last stitch, I will have 3, because these stripes, they have 4 rounds of one color. But the very last stitch, since I'm knitting it together with the stitch below, this last stitch, it only has 3 stitches in the column, and by making it, I will even out the height of the column of the previous color, and it will hide a little bit this jump from one color to another. So this is my preferred way of dealing with jogless stripes. If you have a better way, please share. I'm always curious to learn new techniques, but this is the one that I'm using. And of course, let me know if you need more explanation, because I don't feel like I explained it well. If you want me to explain it more in detail, I will definitely do that, because this is like a life changer for me. Before, when I was making stripes, I didn't bother. I mean, honestly, it's not such a big deal. Even if you have this jump, it's just, you know, hand knitted thing that you have, accessory garment, whatever you are making, and it is expected to have some interesting parts to it, right? Like some soul. But yeah, if you want to avoid this jump for the stripes, there are ways of doing that, and this is the way that I'm following to do that. Speaking why I like knitting socks from toe up is also if I'm making socks with thicker yarn, or I'm not sure if I have enough yarn to properly finish the socks. This is the way where I can just stop wherever I can, so depending on how much yarn I have left. And especially if I'm knitting 2 socks together, you just, you know, you can stop eventually and they will be the same height. So yeah, this is why I prefer knitting them toe up. But of course, there is nothing bad with knitting them top down. Sometimes I also do that, and yeah, it's just the way I do those socks. And yeah, this I'm not following any pattern for this one, and it's just like the hand-picked techniques that I learned from in different projects that I made, and yeah, this is the one that works for me best. Still considering should I make a pattern out of it or not, because I'm not sure the world needs yet another sock pattern, but yeah, it's just another one that I enjoy making. Let me know if you want to knit the same ones. Yeah, I will definitely consider making a pattern out of it, but otherwise I would just make another one, and yeah, maybe another one. Anyway, this is my hand knitted socks, or yeah, my preferred way of sock. I don't have a name for it. I would normally also often I would make socks ribbed all the way, not only for the top part but also for the bottom. With this one I decided to go like that, but again I like ribbing, I like ribbed pattern for socks because our feet, they have shape, and with ribbing I feel like the fit is much better. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with knitting it, with stockinette or anything, of course. Also the socks, if you make a ribbed sock, I don't know if you made any before, they look funny. They are so, because I took it off from the sock holder or blocker. Anyway, so it's just like a long thing that looks really funny, but once you put them on, they are they stretch out and they don't look as a sausage anymore. So this is my work in progress, my favorite way of knitting socks. Thank you for watching. If you have any preferred way of making socks, please share them in the comments. Maybe I will pick up some new techniques, or maybe you will give me a good reason to prefer the cuff down socks. Maybe there is something that I'm missing. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you are new here and want to get more of updates about the socks or any or sweaters that I just showed it to you today. Thank you for watching and see you in my next videos. Bye!